Earlier this year, on May 19, 2009, a Filipino-American healthcare worker and human rights activist, Melissa Rojas, was abducted in the Tarlac province of the Philippines. She and two other volunteers, Juanito Caballero and John Edward Handock, were out doing community work out in the barrios, and they were forcibly taken by 15 armed men of an unidentified group, and they were detained for 6 days. And Melissa was blindfolded in handcuffs in an area suspected of a military camp. And these innocent victims were starved, and they were also tortured while they were accusing Melissa of being a rebel. And eventually Rojas and company were released under the condition that they keep silent. And upon arrival to the US, she came forward in a public conference. She told her story to expose these violations of her human rights. She came forward and she told the conference that she states that if she doesn't tell her story, that it'd be like silencing forever all the voices that have been silenced. Unfortunately, Melissa's case is not a lone incident. Her story is only one of thousands who have been victims of the Philippine government's suppression of the people's movement. Since Arroyo's induction into the office in 2001, there have been over 1,200 extrajudicial killings, abductions, and enforced disappearances in the Philippines, and still the numbers continue to rise. Victims over the past 8 years have included trade unionists, farmers' rights activists, people from indigenous communities, lawyers, journalists, human rights campaigners, and more. On this Day of International Human Rights, Anakbayan condemns those involved with the recent massacre in Mindanao and all other violations of human rights. Our sympathy lies with their families and surrounding communities. Today, let us remember all the martyrs who have dedicated their lives and fought to improve the lives of the most oppressed sectors of the Philippine society. We demand justice for all the victims of human rights that hold Arroyo and her regime accountable for all crimes against humanity. End U.S. support for Arroyo's reign of terror. No U.S. tax dollars for martial law, killings, torture, and abductions. End martial law in Mindanao. Investigate and prosecute the perpetrators of the Mindanao massacre. Justice for all the victims of all human rights violations, and long live international solidarity.